published the beginning of the Authenticity series, a 3-part video series around the topic of authenticity and how to embrace it. If you haven't watched last week's video, go back now and watch it. You can find the link above. If you have watched it, excellent. Let's pick up where we left off. What is the definition of authenticity? I came across this analogy recently and I think it's brilliant. For a moment, let's think of authenticity in terms of its opposite, which is being fake. Something that is authentic is something that is not fake. So being authentic as a person means not being fake. So what does that mean in practical terms? It means that when you say something, you mean it. It means that what you say and what you do line up. Given this definition, it might be useful to substitute the word congruence anytime you think of the application of authenticity, i.e., am I being congruent in what I say and think and do? Asking yourself this question regularly is one of the many ways we can do to keep growing. And it ties in beautifully with Brené Brown's advice when she says, authenticity is a collection of choices that we have to make every day. It's about the choice to show up and be real. It's about the choice to be honest. So far, so good. But herein lies the difficulty so many of us fall into. Very often what we feel and what we think is out of alignment. We can refer back to neuroscience and it reinforces that this is where so many biases come from. For example, I think the right thing to do is X, but it feels scary, so maybe I'll find an excuse not to do it. Or I feel unbelievably frustrated, so I'm going to search for reasons why I really should be. Both of those thought processes could be useful, as humans have feelings for a reason, but they can lead to bad decisions if the emotion is not tempered by thoughtfulness. In other words, if our goal is to only be authentic, then chances are we'll be likely to focus on finding balance between our feelings and our thinking, rather than finding truth. Being wise, on the other hand, means using our feelings as a trigger for us to stop and take the time to think and to then make a choice. The truth is, we generally like people who are congruent, who what you see is what you get. And I think it's fair to say it's certainly better in a lot of cases than dealing with someone who is fake. However, be warned, just because what you see is what you get does not mean that you will like it. On the other side, I think too many people use "I'm being authentic" as an excuse not to think, or perhaps worse, not to be thoughtful. If we're talking about authenticity in leadership, then we should never talk about congruence without also talking about context. I want to give you an example. Speaking your truth in a way that gets people defensive versus delivering it gracefully and non-violently can mean the difference between creating divisions or building understanding and empathy. In other words, just because you think something doesn't mean that it's wise to express your thoughts the moment you think it. And that's in part because if you don't take the time to examine your thoughts, you may put yourself in a really tricky situation. But also in part because truth without kindness and thoughtfulness is not wisdom. So here is the million-dollar question that always comes up with my clients in my coaching sessions. We've now learned about what authenticity means and the associated trouble with the word, but how do we reconcile this mixed message of being authentic but being professional? To find out and hear my tips on how to navigate that thin line between professionalism and authenticity, tag yourself in the comment section below. I will publish the third and last part of the Authenticity series next Thursday, so to ensure you don't miss out, tag yourself below. Until then.